Hi everyone. I just wanted to share 12 more books that I think would be very helpful for those who are searching for truth, doing research. No one ever did this for me. I had to find all these books for myself with the guiding of the Holy Spirit. But I want to, like there's a verse that says we're freely given and we should also freely give as well. So I'm making this video to share 12 more books that I think were very helpful to understand how the world really works. Like I've said, there are two main things we need to understand as we go through life on this earth. The first one, which is the most important, is the plan of salvation, because we all want to be saved, and we want to reach others who don't know the truth, that their eyes may be opened, that they may also have a yearning to be saved. So previously, a few months ago, I did a video where I spoke about my 20 most favorite books. I can't remember the exact title of the video. I think it's my 20 favorite books to read. So this is just kind of like a follow-up to that. And for those who haven't watched that video, I'd suggest you go and watch that. There's some very good books that I spoke about. And a lot of these books, actually, they're out of print. They are rare books, out of print, and some of them are even banned books as well. But you can get them on the internet for free as PDFs, especially if you go to Internet Archive. There are some very good books on there that you can download for free. So there's no excuse nowadays, for not having access to good books, because a lot of these you can download for free, like I already said. So I'm going to share 12 more books that you can read, and a lot of these, once again, you can also download as well. If you can't find them as PDFs on the internet, then that means you have to go to Amazon, one of those sites, Amazon or eBay, or Abe Books, or any one of those very good websites where you can order the book, the physical book that you can then read. So the first one I want to share here, and I won't go into too much detail because I just want to leave you with a bit of curiosity as to what the book is actually talking about. So the first one I'm going to mention is the Assassination of Lumumba by Ludo de Witte, which I actually read some years ago. That's a very good book if you want to know why Patrice Lumumba was, and for those who don't know, Patrice Lumumba was the prime minister of what today is known as the Democratic Republic of Congo. I think those days it was just called Zaire or Congo, and the reasons as to why he was assassinated and everything that was going on, who was involved, especially in terms of organizations that were involved, and countries as well that were involved in getting him assassinated. So maybe you've heard a bit about Patrice Lumumba and you want to know a bit more, you can go and read that book. The next one is The Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins. Let's say I try not to go into too much detail, just to leave you with a bit of curiosity as to what the books are talking about. But I found that book is very helpful in understanding why countries go into debt, is because basically they are offered money to do certain projects, but then those projects are actually done by multi-million dollar corporations, and they don't actually go into the countries. But yeah, there's you can read that for more detail. Next one is Bloodlines of the Illuminati by Fritz Springmeyer. And I also read somewhere after Fritz had written this book, I read that he was persecuted. I think at one point he actually ended up in jail because of writing that book. Because basically in that book he exposes the richest families in the world and how they have control and influence in how the economics of the world actually run. Next one, The Last Dissenting Witness by Gene Hill and Bill Sloan. So this is talking about it's mostly about Gene Hill, who was one of the one of the witness. She witnessed the assassination of JFK. She was actually there. She's known as the lady in the red coat. She was actually there, standing right next to the road when the shots were fired that killed JFK. So the reason why the book is called The Last Dissenting Witness is because there was a lot of pressure put on her to change her story about what she actually witnessed, but she refused to change her story. And there were a few attempts to actually assassinate her, including one attempt where the brakes on a car, someone fiddled around with the brakes on a car, and when she was driving the car, she didn't have any brakes, and she ended up having an accident. Yeah. So yeah, more information on that for those who are interested is in the book. Next one, The Suppressed Truth About the Assassination of Abe Lincoln by Burke McCarty. So I've mentioned before that the history that especially the history that we're taught in school, it's sanitized history. It's not the full truth about what actually happened, because obviously the powers that shouldn't be don't want us to know the truth, because remember, knowledge is power. That's what I want to say. Knowledge is power, and they don't want us to know the truth, because when you know the truth, you can then free yourself. So what I wanted to say is that, we're told that Abe Lincoln was assassinated by an actor, Booth. So I forget his first name, but Booth assassinated Abe Lincoln, and that Booth was acting by himself. So that's not true. It's always the lone gunman theory. It's like even with JFK, that they say that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, but that's not true. There's a lot more to the story, and the reason why the truth was covered up, even by the American government at the time, is because they said that if the truth had come out, it would have basically caused another war. Yeah, so they didn't allow the truth to come out about who else was involved in Lincoln's assassination. It's actually said that Abe Lincoln was America's best president. I mean, I don't know about that. Maybe because there's some that say that he was actually wrong in not allowing the southern states to secede as well. But he was loved as a president, and the America went into mourning when he was assassinated. So James Wilkes Booth, I think, they say that he's the one that assassinated Lincoln, and he was acting alone, but he wasn't acting alone. He was actually prepped to go through with that assassination, and there were actually attempts to protect him as well. So yeah, like I said, it said that the reason why they covered up who else was involved in the assassination, it would have actually led to more war, that the country would have, because the war ended. I believe Lincoln was assassinated 5 days after the southern states had surrendered. It said that the truth had come out. Let me just say it here that the Roman Catholic Church, especially the Jesuits were behind Lincoln's assassination. It would have led to another war, a religious war between the Protestants and the Catholics. So that's why that was covered up. But yeah, let's just moving on without giving too much information. So anyway, just that book was by Burke McCarty. I'll put all the details in the description of the video, in case it's not very clear, or as I say the names of the books and the names of the authors. Next one is Catholicism and Slavery by Richard Miller, where basically he says that the Catholic Church was involved in slavery, and this came about. He wrote the book because he came across a black woman who was Roman Catholic, and she said that she was Roman Catholic because the Catholic Church was very good to black people, and Richard Miller wrote that book to prove that to be wrong, because the Catholic Church was actually involved in slavery. The next one is a book by Walter Rodney. It's called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. Yeah, once again by Walter Rodney. So Europe colonized Africa, and even up to today, there are Europeans who claim that they civilized Africa. When I was in the army, someone actually said that to me and my colleagues. No, Europe did not help Africa in any way. In fact, they caused it to be underdeveloped. And in fact, I'll do a video on And so it's carrying on with my series of videos where I'm talking about how the world is ruled, and I'm going to talk about colonialism, just showing how Africa is being made to stay poor purposely. Africa is actually the richest continent in the world, and of course we have the DRC, where I mentioned where Patrice Lumumba was the prime minister, and how they ousted him. It was mostly of because of the minerals that are found there, with the DRC being the richest country in Africa, and with Africa being the richest continent. But why are Africans poor? Why are African countries poor? It's all being done purposely. So this is what part of what Walter Rodney was talking about in his book. Next one is Vietnam. Why did we go? By Avro Manhattan. So he gives the real reasons why that war took place. And remember, JFK was against the war in Vietnam, and that's one of the reasons why he was removed. On top of printing his own government money as well, because by the time JFK was president, the Federal Reserve had already been set up, and the Federal Reserve was, which is not federal and it doesn't have any reserves, was set up in 1913. So they removed JFK partly because he was against the war, the war in Vietnam. Yeah, I'll just give the two main reasons why that war took place. It was to do with drugs, and it was to do with religion. So yeah, you can read that book if you want to know more. Next one is High Priests of Treason, which I read recently by J.D. Melvin Stamper. So Melvin Stamper gives a history of how the so-called Federal Reserve was set up. It was set up through deception, and even the president at the time, Woodrow Wilson, was a puppet of the bankers, and he signed the law that created the Federal Reserve against the will of the American people, and also there were men such as Paul Warburg, Jacob Schiff, and other agents of the Rothschilds who were involved in the setting up of the Federal Reserve. It was all done clandestinely and through deception. So that's what that book is talking about. But he also talks about other issues as well that have happened in America, including the Waco, the siege that happened in Waco, where those Branch Davidians were murdered by the FBI. So perhaps one day I'll talk about what actually happened in Waco, because actually right now I'm reading another book as well that talks about that. It talks about the Oklahoma city bombing, but also mentions the Waco siege. So yeah, and I'll mention that book just now here because I've only just started reading it. So another good book to read is the Jesuits in History by Hector Macpherson. One of the reasons why I like this book is because not only because it talks about the Jesuits, but because it's not a big book. It's only 100 and something pages, and it's quite easy to read and easy to get through. So yeah, because there are many books that have been written on the Jesuits, but some of them are quite hard to get through. Next one is Huss the Heretic by Poggius the Papist and Paul Tice. So for those who don't know who Huss was a reformer from Europe, specifically from what we know today as the Czech Republic, and basically he was accused of heresy. But when he went to have a hearing, I can't remember where the hearing took place, but he went to have a hearing somewhere, and he was promised that he would not be in prison. But as soon as he got there, they arrested him and threw him in a dungeon and kept him there for over a year, I believe. And then eventually said that they found him guilty of heresy, and then they burnt him on the stake. But the name Huss actually means goose. It's in the Czech language. It actually means goose. So he was. Then those who accused him of heresy were saying that as they were going through the trial, they said that they were going to burn the goose. Obviously that was meant in a derogatory way against Huss. But before he died and before he was burnt on the stake, Huss prophesied that they were going to burn him. They were going to burn the goose, but in about 100 years' time, there will be a swan that they would not be able to to destroy or burn, and that was in. Obviously, that was a prophecy that he didn't even know. That prophecy basically was to do with Martin Luther, who is another reformer, a German reformer. Who was he used to be an Augustinian monk in the Catholic Church. Yeah, he used an insignia of a swan. So that's the swan that Huss was talking about when he made that prophecy. The last book I want to refer to is Choosing the Light by Robert Cody Snodgres. This is a book that I've just started reading. Very explosive book. So basically, Robert Cody is often called Cody, was a CIA agent who basically was offered a lot of money to blow up the Oklahoma, the Alfred Murrah building in Oklahoma, and it basically comes out and basically exposes the CIA and the American government in the fact that they are involved in doing all these false flag terror attacks. And for those who don't know, false flag attack is basically one where the government does something and then they point the finger at someone else. So yeah, for those who know about the Oklahoma City bombing, Timothy McVeigh and his friend were said to be the ones who actually did the bombing, and they said that the bombs were in a Ryder truck, but that turned. Cody says that's not true. The bombs were actually planted in the building. But yeah, I think that's information that's quite well known already. I mean, there's no issue with me saying all that. It's not going to put you off reading the book, because actually Cody talks about other events, which, like I already mentioned, he talks about Waco and many other events, and how the U.S. government had attempted to assassinate him. And he talks about the Clintons quite a lot and says that they're very corrupt and they've murdered over 100 people who have basically tried to come out and expose them, them being the Clintons, excuse me. So very good book. He's kind of elderly now. I'm talking about Cody, the author of this book, and he said that he feels that it's time to come out basically and tell the truth about what happened, not only in Oklahoma but in other incidents that we've been told lies about, because he says that if the truth is not told, then America basically is going to be destroyed as a country. But I'm not sure what impact the book is going to have on saving America. But yeah, there are men who have initially were quiet because they were scared for their lives, but eventually came out and told the truth. But so yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, the book was actually written in 2015. So it's been around for a while, and you can actually download that book. I downloaded it as well from Internet Archive. So yeah, probably one of the best books I've come across this year so far. So I hope that yeah, this will help for those who are searching, who are receptive to truth. It's not for everyone, because some might be frightened to read some of the things that are in those books. But Jesus said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." If you have a yearning for truth, nothing should stand in the way of you accessing the truth. So don't just read the books and keep the information to yourself. Share it with those who want to know the truth as well.